Hi everybody, it's Shannon. Today I thought I would tell you about what I take with me to chemo. So what's in my chemo bag? And I'll tell you first of all, this is not what I'm going to show you in the bag is not what came with me the first two times. The first two times I think I had everything but the kitchen sink in this bag. I had a blanket, I had like slippers in there, I had crossword puzzle books, I had like an adult coloring book, I had 2 reading books. I just had so much stuff. And really all I did the first round was did a couple like things on my phone because I was so interested in what was going around me in the infusion center. So I didn't really have time, honestly. I mean, you're there for, at least 3.5 hours, but it seemed like everything passed so quickly because I was just so interested in like what was going on around me. The second time I took all the same things again, everything. And then I kind of figured out like, okay, I'll do a little of this. And okay, right now I think I'd like to do a little of that. And I do highly recommend that you bring more than you think you're going to want to have, because what I thought I would be doing during my infusions is not what I ended up doing during my infusions. So I think it's important to carry a lot with you the first couple of times until you kind of get the hang of it and see what kind of works for you. And then you can start paring down like what you really need. So here are some things, whether you're in chemo yourself for colon cancer or you're buying stuff for a loved one or a friend who's going through it. The first thing that comes with me, and they're already on me in my shoes, are these insoles for your feet. Oh my gosh, they're wonderful. They're made by Hot Hands. I love them, love them, love them. I wear these every day that it's cold. Because you have shoes that you can't like double sock and stuff like this, and these are really thin, but oh my gosh, they're so warm. So I love these. So these are already on my feet before I leave. I have, and what I do the most often is I crochet. Here's the blanket that's being made for my daughter. She picked out the yarn, and that's generally what I do because I was told by a physical therapist that the act of knitting or crocheting or sewing will help prevent the neuropathy in your fingers. So I really do. I don't get any while I'm sitting there crocheting. So that's just something to keep my hands busy. So I always bring that. I always bring like an assortment of pens, pencils, highlighters, because at some point somebody's going to hand you something that you need to sign, and it's good to have a pen on you. I also bring reading glasses because I'm that age and sometimes I have to actually see what I'm signing. I also bring gum every time because the oxaliplatin will also make you have jaw pain sometimes, and it's called first bite, and really it's not just the first bite that hurts. It's you have to chew through it. There's no other way around it. But you can sneak this, and it's kind of like getting past the oxaliplatin. I always start chewing gum about 5 minutes while I'm being hooked up to the port at the end, and I chew it the whole way home, and then whenever I have lunch when I get home, I don't have that jaw pain because my jaw's already been like chewing. So I have that in here. I bring headphones because now I listen to my books, Audible books, so I enjoy that. I listen to that while I sit there and crochet, so that's really what I do now. Another thing that Elisa gave me for Christmas was these wonderful little things, and they are hand warmers, and they are the best. You can recharge them. There's a little charger on them. They have 3 different settings, so when you turn them on, you can do it on 3, on 2, on 1, and these come with me every time because generally it's really cold by the time I get out there, and I just like to have my gloves on, and I hold on to these, and it makes it nice and warm, and I don't have to worry about them at all. Then I have this little bag, and this is something, I have like facial wipes because you just know. Don't ever know. I do bring along lotion every time because sometimes your hands get really dry, especially in the winter and the cold, and it just feels like, when you add friction, it feels a little bit better sometimes. I bring my little thing of Kleenex. I have some hand sanitizer. Lip balm always. Your lips will be dry. Oh, they will be very dry. Moisturize. And then I made some little essential oils, and this one's my Relax, which I guess it's backwards on for you. But this one just has lavender in it. So, you know, if I'm feeling, I don't know, any sort of anxiety or whatever, I just kind of put it on and it makes me feel better. You can also get hot hands if you don't buy the rechargeable ones. Hot hands are wonderful too. I also carry with me like some sort of mint or something to like suck on. This is more important for a lot of people. There's a lot of people who can taste the saline because they flush your port every single time they put in a new drug. So it's really bad for some people, and they say they can taste like the saltiness and everything, and lots of people gag. They have a really hard time with it. So things like this help with that. So I just carry some more for others if they need it than for myself. I was sitting next to one poor woman who had gallbladder cancer, and she doesn't like Diet Coke, but she said the only thing that could keep the taste away was that strong taste of Diet Coke, so she sipped that whenever they would flush it. Other people can smell the saline, but I don't really smell the saline either. I also carry a Ziploc bag because if I have to put my cream on, like when I'm out or something like that, to get my port accessed, this works just as well as saran wrap, and it's easier to cart around with you. Other things I bring, oh, hold on, I forgot it. This has been wonderful. So you can't drink things that are cold. And I don't know if you've had lukewarm water, and a lot of lukewarm water, but it's not really good. So it's kind of hard to stay hydrated. So I do always bring along seltzer water, and I get the lemon flavor just because I happen to like lemon. But this I can drink, ooh, it even feels cold now. It's room temperature, but on my hands it feels cold. I can drink that, and it doesn't bother me at all if it's just room temperature. So if you're having a hard time getting the amount of fluids you should have in you, which you need that to flush all that chemo out of you, by all means try some like water that has some bubbles in it and see if that works for you, because that did wonders for me. I was okay for a couple of rounds, but like by the third round, the thought of drinking lukewarm water just, ugh, it was just horrible. I couldn't take that. So I switched over, and it's been wonderful. I also have in my chemo bag, I do enjoy puzzles. So I have my like Sudoku puzzle book in here because sometimes I just feel like doing something that's a little different, or I run out of yarn or something like that. So it gives me something else to do. And then I always bring along something to write on. If I've had a weird side effect, if the doctor told me something that I wanted to try and remember, I'll put it in there. Any sort of, you know, thoughts or whatever information that I think I might forget, or I think my husband might forget, I try and write it down. So I do bring along like a little notepad. And that's really all I take with me to chemo, which actually when it's out here it looks like quite a lot, but it's a little less than some people. You might want to get, if you're buying stuff for a chemo bag, to be helpful, you might want to think about a blanket, small, not huge, because some people don't like, most infusion centers and hospitals will give you warm blankets, which is what I like, but some people say that they can smell, like that smell on them. I'll be honest, I don't know if that's because they're like having it in a hospital, and you know, every time I walk into the hospital, like get CT scans or whatever, I can smell that smell, and it's a hospital smell, but I don't really get that smell in my doctor's infusion center, so maybe that's why I don't really need my own pillow, my own blanket. I do have a friend who always brings like a little pillow with her, and because she takes a nap every time, like clockwork. She does it during the big infusion, and she takes this like hour and 45-minute nap every time she's out like a light. I really can't nap because there's just so much stuff going on around me, so I don't really do that. But that's what I have in my chemo bag, and those are some of the items that if you're looking to purchase some things for a friend who's going through chemo or a loved one, that I would suggest. But the first 2 rounds, definitely, the more the better. Stay strong, everybody. Be positive, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.